Shrapnel.
Wagwan, everyone, and welcome to Film Shrapnel, the one-stop spot with the fuck, Craig. I've fucked it up already.
You got to keep that in. You got to keep that in.
No,
100%.
I'm not keeping that in. We're cutting that. We're cutting that. Wagwan, everyone. Welcome to Film Shrapnel, a very special Film Shrapnel, your one-stop spot for everything movies. My name's Tobias. This motherfucker's Craig, and today is a special Jackie Chan episode.
Yeah, more Jackie stuff. What Jackie films have we done so far? I think we've done 3 or 2.
So
or
we've done 3 films so far. We've done Spiritual Kung Fu, also known as Karate Ghostbuster, and we've done the 2 Drunken Master movies, Drunken Master and The Legend of the Drunken Master. So today we're doing another double feature. These are 2 films that I've seen many times in the past, and they're both part of 2 of Jackie Chan's like big Hong Kong franchises that he's got. We've got Armour of God II, which is easily the best Armour of God movie, also known as Operation Condor, and we've got Police Story 3, debatably the best police story movie, also known as Supercop. Although I'll be honest with you, Craig, I much prefer other movies in the Police Story franchise. This is not my favorite one.
You know what? I can't really remember the other ones too well. I remember one where there's like a double-decker bus. Is that the first or second? Or do you not know? I can't really remember which ones I've seen.
I thought the double-decker bus was Project A, but I could be wrong. Project A is another franchise that he did in the 80s as well. But to be fair, these 2 films we've watched today are from the 90s. These are sequels, but from the 90s.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. We got 2 90s sequel films, but they're kind of also sold off internationally as like standalone, aren't they?
They are, but also they're sequels to 80s franchises as well. Pretty sure both of these franchises started in the 80s. Let me ask you this, Craig. For both of these films, how did you watch them in terms of like audio?
Subtitles for both. I couldn't find dub versions. Although
I'm really disappointed, if I'm perfectly honest, because I thought the audio I got for Supercop was the original audio with subtitles, and there's obviously the odd bit of dialogue here and there that is in English. So, you know, the subtitles don't play when they speak English sometimes. However, Armour of God II, I had a Chinese dubbing of it. So everyone, even the characters that are speaking in English, everyone's speaking in Chinese. And so I had to have the subtitles on even for the characters because there are whole scenes in Armour of God 2 where there are people speaking English and everyone was speaking Chinese in my dubbing.
Yeah, actually, in both films, it got a bit weird because there were moments in both films where someone, I remember in Armour of God 2, there's a moment where a Japanese woman is speaking to him in Japanese and he's replying in Chinese and they understand each other. And then in Supercop, there is this moment where Jackie first goes over into China. We'll get into this obviously soon. And he meets Michelle Yeoh. So he's in mainland China. And then they're speaking Chinese to each other. But at one point, she says to him, you can speak Chinese. And it's like, what? Yeah. What language were they just speaking then? Like, what's going on?
One of them would have been speaking Cantonese. One of them would have been speaking Mandarin, I assume.
But I think they're mutually interchangeable. I think it's more an alphabetical thing, isn't it?
No, they're different languages. Like the thing is, in China, there are so many different dialects as well that are like just for small regions. Like there's this tiny region of China, I think it's called Fushao, and the language of Fushao is it's apparently the most complicated Chinese language to learn, or at least up there. yeah, the dialects are very different. So,
But
but the thing is, I'm sure most people, like if you're mainly a Mandarin speaker, I'm sure you know a reasonable amount of Cantonese, and vice versa. You know, if you're not fluent in both, you'll be sort of proficient in one, and maybe like, oh, okay, I can get by
mm,
the other. In the same way that in England we learn French and Spanish at school because they're like local countries that we might potentially go and visit.
yeah, but I'm not sure that's really true here though, because I think that they only cross the border into the neighboring city. So if they're in Hong Kong and they're just crossing the border just to the city, I can't remember the name of the city. I
Well,
think it began with G.
are
Like
you
probably
are
the
you
dialect is the same or very similar, right?
are you by a computer?
I am.
What? All right, why don't you let's type in like what's the dialect in Hong Kong and what's the dialect in mainland China? Because this is the thing,
Okay.
it would make sense because if he's crossed over to mainland China and they're talking, and then she's like, you can just speak Chinese to me, so it's like he's obviously making an effort to speak in her dialect, and she's like, don't
Hmm.
worry about it, because maybe it's like maybe he's not as proficient at it as she is with his dialect, so she's like, don't worry about it, speak to me like this, it's fine.
So I
um,
just found online. It says Cantonese remains dominant with 96%. Uh, something about
what in
48% of in
in
Hong
Hong
Kong,
Kong,
yeah,
China? Oh, okay.
and 48% of people in Hong Kong can speak Mandarin. So more
Yeah,
likely, Jackie's
so
speaking Cantonese.
there you go. He's probably speaking Cantonese. Well, he's probably a Cantonese speaker, but then maybe when he meets Michelle Yeoh, he's trying to speak Mandarin to her, and she's like, because obviously we miss that cultural context, don't we, in the subtitles? But I think that's what's going on. I think he tries to speak Mandarin to her, and like maybe there's like an element of like he's not very good at speaking Mandarin, so she's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just speak Cantonese to me." That makes sense to
Hmm.
me because there's so many
Yeah,
dialects in China. That makes so much sense to
I
me.
get you, but I think you're probably wrong because I think that they go
Fuck
to
off.
yeah, because they're literally just going across the border, and so probably they speak Cantonese. Like I think it's I don't know how you pronounce
I
it,
don't know, but yeah, but the thing,
Guangzhou, which is
yeah,
just
but
across.
I think most people do that. You go to a country, you at least learn a couple of phrases to get by. He knows enough Mandarin to be like, "Hello, let's talk about the mission a little bit." And she's like, "Just speaking Cantonese, you fuck."
You know what's even funnier is that she's not even Chinese. Well, she's ethnically Chinese, but she's from Malaysia.
She's from Malaysia, yeah. And this movie does have its climax in Malaysia. Well, look, okay, I think we're 10 minutes in. Should we just start with Super Cop? We're already
Yeah,
talking
we're already
about it.
talking about Supercop. Okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. So Super Cop, round one. Let's do Super Cop first. Really quickly, Super Cop, meet the cop that can't be stopped. This film is featured in Hot Fuzz, which is a movie that directly references great action movies. So this film gets a full-on shout out by Edgar Wright, Nick Frost, Simon Pegg in Hot Fuzz.
Mm.
So it's clear they really like this movie. And as I said earlier, I don't think this is my favorite police story film.
You know, can I
Uh,
also say one more thing about Jackie at this point? Because like
yeah,
the
go on.
first few films we've watched for Jackie, when we did oh, Spiritual Kung Fu and the original Drunken Master, right? These two were in the 70s, 1978, both of them. And also we did
Yes,
another 90s one, which was the second Drunken Master. And now we've done these
yes.
two 90s films. I
Hmm.
did well, apart from Drunken Master, I'll give that an exception, but I found that in Police Story 3, Super Cop, and Operation Condor, I'm not switching between the names so many times here. I didn't find it so much like I didn't find Jackie's martial arts abilities to be such a center point in them so much. Like
Right?
I really found that in the 70s ones, it was really about the martial arts a lot more. And now it feels like
Yeah.
maybe now it's starting to take a backseat
Th-
a little bit, and the rest of the action and the budget's kind of taken over a little bit, you
Was it?
know?
No, but wouldn't you agree that it's the stunts that are taking the front seat as they get older? I would say in
Hmm.
the 90s, it's the stunt work that really takes the center stage in Jackie movies, even to the point where the outtakes become just as much a part of the movie as the rest of the
Yeah.
story. Um, so like, yeah, I would actually make the argument that at this point it's the stunts that make the difference. And I don't think Supercop is as showy with its stunt work as other Jackie Chan movies. I'd actually rank
Well,
this. I like Super Cop an awful lot, but I'm telling you, Craig, the first Police Story movie, there's this stunt where he slides down this pole
oh
that's
yeah.
covered. Oh my god, it's like insane that he didn't die. It is it is
Y-
utter, proper insane, and it's like, yeah, I don't see much of that. Like,
You say that, but there
go
were
on.
two moments in at the very end of this in the outtakes at the end of Super Cop 3 that I thought, fucking hell, like they
Yeah.
nearly died there. Like there was one bit where they're on the train. Sorry, I'm spoiling it.
Yeah, well, this is
Uh
the thing.
he
The
nearly falls off a
climax of this
fucking
film is
train.
massive.
Yeah, and I got a lot of notes on that, by the way. And then it's a bit where Michelle Yeoh has to jump on Jackie's car, and she falls off the
W-
car, and I'm like, "Fuck, that could have been really bad." Like
Yeah,
there was a few moments like that where I thought, I actually think that she's the real super cop in this film, not Jackie.
yeah. I'll tell you this, right? I wrote this note down. I said, because there's a bit where they meet and she's trying to like brief him on like who he's meant to be. This is your character this is your undercover role that you're playing. And he's like just flirting with her. He's not paying attention. He's just flirting with her. As he's very misogynistic in these films, by the way, I've noticed.
He
Um,
is.
but like, so he's just flirting at her, and then like, but he's still able to recall everything she said, and he's like, yeah, this is blah blah blah. I've actually been paying attention the whole time, and then she suddenly knows everything about him. And I'd written down, maybe they should have renamed this film Super Cops.
Yeah,
Oh, a bit dumb, but it's true. I think Michelle Yeoh is just as much a credible threat as Jackie is in this movie. She is fucking
yeah.
badass. And you know what? You'd never guess that she's not a martial artist, would you, in this movie? Her kung fu form, she really sells it. But she's not
Hmm.
a martial artist at all. She's a dancer, isn't she? I think we've mentioned it before on the podcast.
I'm
But
not
she
sure if
was a
we have.
dance. I'm sure we have, but she was a dancer. She wasn't a martial artist. So she just learned all
Hmm.
of these movements, sort of, in the movement version of phonetically. She learned how to do these movements without. It's not, she's not doing it as martial arts. She's doing it as a dance or a choreography. And
Hmm.
like I say, you'd never be able to tell that she wasn't a trained martial artist.
But I will say
Um,
though, speaking about misogynism, this
mm,
Police Story 3 is less misogynistic than
oh,
Armour of God 2.
yeah,
Armour of
Armour of
God
God
2
II.
is a bit bad with
Yeah,
that.
Armour of God 2 has its moments. I mean, we'll get there,
Quite a
but they,
few. Shall we
but yeah,
quickly go
can
through
I
Supercop for Supercop? Otherwise, people are going to
go
get
on?
lost.
Go on. We're
Uh,
15 minutes in. Go on. A picture Super Cop in a nutshell.
so
You've
basically, you have Chan, who is actually called in this film Chai Chu, I think, if I remember. I wrote it. I copied it from the subtitles.
Well,
Uh,
well, I'll be honest. When I watched this movie as a kid, it was dubbed into English, and in most of these movies, in fact, all of them that I can think of,
he's always
his
Jackie,
name
right?
was, yeah. He's always Jackie. He's always,
That's one of the first notes I put down. I was like, "What? Jackie's not being Jackie in this movie? That's unusual."
yeah. No, he would have.
Um,
He would have been in the English dub. I promise. He was Jackie in the English dub.
yeah, I was really expecting it. So he's basically like the best cop in Hong Kong, By the way, the
Mm.
beginning feels very colonial. Like you open up and it's a shot of the Queen in some
Yeah,
police.
Queen Liz. Queen Lizzie's
Yeah,
in.
it made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Actually, how colonial that felt.
Yeah, I
Like
thought so.
it's yeah, it's weird to think that happened in our lifetime as well. That was part of
Mm.
the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's a lot of heroin dealing going on, which was quite bleak actually to hear at the beginning of a Jackie Chan movie, like just talking immediately about heroin use and crime and shit.
Yeah.
And
And then he just shows up on a bike in a cool leather jacket and
yeah,
glasses.
of course he does.
I think he's
Uh,
really cool in this movie.
he is
He,
quite cool.
I don't often find Jackie Chan cool. Like I find him like a fun like guy that like you'd love to be your uncle and you'd love to hang out with. But like I never see him as like a cool guy. But I think he's really cool in Supercop in all of the police story movies actually.
Yeah. And so, long story short, Chan is sent undercover into mainland China to break out a guy who's called the
Panther.
Panther. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has to break him out of a labor camp so then he can then infiltrate this gang in Hong Kong, which is dealing a lot of drugs. And I think that's enough of the story to explain.
Yeah,
The rest
yeah,
kind of just comes along.
we can get into it after that. Yeah,
And
but
Michelle Yeoh is
but
like his
what
partner on the Chinese
what
side.
was what was the the leader of the gang? They all keep calling him brother, and I didn't
Mm.
catch his name at all. Did you
I
catch
got
his name?
confused at one point because I thought they were calling someone else brother, or like there was the big brother, wasn't there?
Yeah, the big brother, the guy who was like the angry one. He was
Mm.
always angry in every scene, and he seemed to be the one that was in charge. But I don't recall them referring. Certainly not in the subtitles. I didn't see any name. I just saw brother, so I don't know what his character name was. But he was kind of nuts. He was
Yeah,
nutty. I just want to let me point out one thing just at the beginning because she doesn't appear too much. She's only in it 3 scenes, but we've got Maggie Chung in this movie. She plays Jackie Chan's girlfriend,
May
right?
May.
Yeah, May. Now, the thing is, a lot of these movies, if we keep watching more and more Jackie movies, you'll realize that these are frequent collaborators that he works with. So, like the old guy, who plays who pretends to be his mum or something at one point.
I recognized him.
Yeah,
He's been in
he's
a lot of Jackie stuff.
yeah, he's been in a bunch of Jackie's stuff. This girl, Maggie Chung, she's in Twin Dragons with him as well. Twin Dragons is like Jackie Chan plays two different people in that movie because
Mm.
every action star's got to have a movie where there's two of them.
Are
Like
there?
that's
Is one a bad guy?
yeah, no. To be fair, no.
Uh,
They're both good guys, but one of them's
uh,
like from the street, and one of them's of high class, and they've got to team up. And
I
they,
would have
but
liked it
obviously,
more if one was a bad guy. I'd like to see Jackie play a bad guy.
I know. I think we all want to see Jackie play a bad guy, but like,
Imagine the Terminator, but it was Jackie Chan instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger. How
I
much of a
mean,
different film would that have been?
I love Arnie, but I would watch that. Well, this is the thing. Maybe the Terminators were regional as well. They would have had Chinese Terminators. It makes sense. You don't
Mm.
have to do a reboot. This could be a sequel. This is just a spin-off. Chinese Terminator. That's possible. There would have been Terminators of all races and creeds, I'm sure,
Yeah,
because
they have to be undetected.
they're infiltration units. So I'm pretty sure it would be totally viable to have a Jackie Chan Terminator film. Whoever James Cameron, hear me, because I hear that James Cameron is on board to write the new Terminator film. They've thrown so much money at him that he's like, fine, I'll write you a good one, but I'm not directing it. You direct it, but I'll come up with some ideas and you can just figure out what you want to do from it with it. Like, yeah. So I've heard that James Cameron's involved in some way, but maybe Terminator is just a franchise they need to let die, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'll
Unless
chime
they
in.
get Jackie Chan.
I'll chime in something here. I don't know if we'll cut this from the podcast, but like, so you know about Barbenheimer. I've watched the new Barbie film. We did a little pod thing on it, and like one
Yeah.
of the things, because I was, oh, I can't remember where. There was a YouTube video that was explaining the concept of why it's so interesting. And one of the things they mentioned is like maybe people are starting to get bored of franchises, and we need something original. And like
Mm,
some franchises, specifically the Terminator franchise, is so fucking exhausted. Like, just
yeah.
please stop ruining its name. Stop. Let it go.
Well, well,
Like, I don't
funnily
know.
enough, there's a new Police Story movie coming out as well.
Really? What
Like
number?
tying back into Supercop. Well, so I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if they did Police Story 4 next, or if they just jumped straight to new Police Story. I've only
Hmm.
seen Police Story 1, 2, 3, and new Police Story. I'm not sure if there's any other movies. I, I was under the impression that there was more than just 4. And I quite like New Police Story. I think I like New Police Story more than this one, if I'm honest,
Hmm.
uh, because it's set significantly later in the 2000s it came out, and Jackie Chan's become a bit of a drunk because he's dealing with a failed mission, like it's just fucked him up in their head. Um, and then they do these kids that are like got a video game online, but it's like predicting who they'll kill in real life, and they're just trying to fuck with the rich and the police, and they're just like anarchists, and Jackie's got to bring them down. But yeah, I won't say any more because we might do it for the pod. But it's a really good one.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I really like that one, and the action's fucking great. And Jackie's aging up a bit as well, so it feels like he maybe he should pack it in, maybe he should retire, but no, he's got to deal with it because he feels responsible. It's really good. I like New Police Story, and apparently we're getting New Police Story 2 at some
Oh,
point.
but how old is Jackie now?
I mean, he's got to be like 70, or well, he's got to
He's
be in his 60s for sure.
he's definitely,
100%.
yeah, definitely
Because
past. I don't know, man.
I
I
think
don't know how he can keep going.
I think he's in his 40s by the time he does Rush Hour, and
Yeah.
that's 97.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like 25 years past that, 26 years past that. So I would imagine he's got to be in his mid 60s,
At least. But
pushing
like,
70. He's
yeah.
coming up to 70, I'd imagine.
Oi, oi, oi. I don't know if he can keep doing that shit. Mind
Well, he
you, Harrison
should be
Ford
at
did an
least.
Indiana Jones film at 80.
Well, but the thing is, Indiana Jones. I haven't seen the new Indiana Jones, and I haven't seen the new Blade Runner. Although I really want to get round
It's
to it.
very good.
Yeah, I will get round to it, and I have seen Star Wars 7. So all these movies that have come out that he's been in, you've either got commercial success but critically panned, or you've got commercially terrible but critically not bad or good even. You haven't
Mm.
got like a clean movie there. Like Blade Runner 2 didn't make much money. Critically, it did all right. People liked it, but it didn't make them a huge amount of money. Star Wars made a load of money, but critically, it wasn't great. And Indiana Jones, I hear that it's bombing at the box office in terms of its budget. Like it's not
Ag-
going to break even.
Again, like it's more proof that people are tired of franchises that just don't die.
No, I think people are tired of fucking Harrison Ford.
Well, he's
like I
been around
said
for a
in our
while.
like I said in our podcast where we rewrite Indiana Jones and make him short round, I just want to kill off Indiana Jones like straight away. I don't want to waste any time with Harrison Ford. Just get rid of him. And we're just going to go with someone new. Boom, get on board. This is your new Indiana Jones. Get
I
on
don't
board.
know. There are
Or you just
some
reboot it and
there are
just stick
some people
it
that
in.
really do like him though. Like my wife really likes Harrison Ford. She has like a bit of a grandfather complex. You know, some people have a daddy complex. She has a grandfather complex.
Yeah.
She
All
adds it
right.
in for
Fair
the
enough.
old ones, the geriatric types.
The geriatrics.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I'm sure Harrison Ford will be happy to hear that. But uh, but I hope he hears this as well. Like, I think it's time to take a step back, start doing, because he's going to be he's replacing William Hurt in the Marvel movies as General Ross, because William Hurt died, and they were building to him being like the leader of a new. I think they're doing the Thunderbolts, which is like a team of bad guys. It's like Bad Avengers, and it's led by Colonel Ross. And William Hurt died, so they've cast Harrison Ford to play him in the next one. Now, I just think that's a bad idea all round. I think you've proven 3 times he's not bankable as a star. I think they should get someone else that people will like more.
Yeah, it's kind of, I can't remember too much of William Hurt's stuff, but when I think of Harrison Ford, it's just not, you can't really just boot him in there and say it's the same guy. He has a
I
different
mean,
feel.
in all fairness, like, he's probably the best choice if I'm honest. Like,
Hmm.
it, he is kind of exactly what you need for the role. Um, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't see why they just don't take a step back from that idea. If the guy died, like, what did you do with Chadwick Boseman? You respectfully retired the character and let someone else take on the mantle. What do you do for William Hurt? Just get Harrison Ford. Like,
Yeah,
I don't like that. I feel like if you're going to give Chadwick Boseman that respect, maybe do the same for William Hurt.
it should
But
be a
either way,
thing, shouldn't it? People
yeah.
should be more respectful for that.
I think
Well,
so.
shit.
We're running on a massive tangent though. Should we get
We
back?
went on a tangent. They went on 2 other tangents.
I know.
Uh, all
uh,
right.
so
Shall
we're
we?
back into Supercop, right? Yeah, go on. What were you going to say?
Well, one of the, it's also kind of a tangent, but I think it's quite important for Super Cop. I was really thinking when I was watching this film about the relationship between Hong Kong and mainland China, and how this kind of because like a big thing about Jackie these days is that he's very pro China, and like people
Hmm.
criticize him for this,
But
and
his
like,
movies aren't, are they?
well, I don't know. I was wondering what this film suggests about his attitudes towards
I,
mainland China. And
I mean,
like,
he always seems to be working for the British government.
yeah, but like, I think he's really working for Hong Kong, though. I
Well,
mean,
sure, but like I don't, I feel like very often a lot of these films don't show the British in a particularly negative light. They're just sort of there. It's just like oh yeah, there's the British guys that are here.
hmm,
Like, they don't make it mention of it in any sort of negative light. Maybe that was like political though, in all fairness,
yeah.
because let's not forget they were occupied by the British at the time. Maybe they weren't allowed to be critical of the British. I don't know, if I'm honest. Um, but yeah, uh, they don't come across as particularly anti-British, do they?
Well, yeah, but there is also this kind of suggestion at the beginning that the British guys are just handing over work to everybody else and not doing anything themselves. Like
Yeah.
when they pass it down to the Chinese guys who are doing all the work. So, meh, there is a bit
I
of
mean,
that
yeah,
there.
there's a bit of commentary there, yeah, for sure. But I don't think they make a huge deal out of it. It's like
No.
a sort of like a off, just sort of a throwaway line every now and again in these movies. But they don't, it certainly not in the ones we've watched yet, anyway.
Mm. But there are 2 other moments that I think are really worth mentioning about this that I've written up. So there's
Go on.
one bit where they're in mainland China and they're going past like a market or something, and Jackie mentions something like, "Why does this public security not do anything?" Like when he sees like cruelty to animals, and Michelle Yeoh's character just doesn't say anything. So I think that was
Mm,
kind of like a bit of a critique there. But then at the
yeah.
very end of the film, when the good guys have won, there's this line that I wrote down. So when they're discussing what happens to all the money, because right now they're in Malaysia, but this job has been done
Mm.
by a Hong Kong cop and a mainland China cop, and like what they're going to do with all the money, and they have a little argument about if it's going to go to mainland China or Hong Kong, and Jackie's like, let the Hong Kong government keep it in custody for us. After 1997, we're also Chinese, and it'll be yours too. Like
Yeah, I've got that written down somewhere as well. Yeah, yeah, but it's just sort of a joke, though, isn't it?
a
Just
little
play it as a
bit,
joke.
but I think it's a little. Could you say it's a little bit pro-China?
If only we could speak Chinese, dude, then
I know.
we'd understand the context, we'd get it, we wouldn't have to question it. We've only got the subtitles to go off. That's the
Mm,
problem. But yeah, it's hard. It was hard for me to tell what the because now you've mentioned it, it's like, yeah, I can also see how it could be either or.
yeah.
So
Maybe it's written that way on purpose. I don't know.
maybe me and you will never know. That's the problem.
Yeah.
If we have any Chinese listeners uh, that speak the language, please let us know what we're missing there. What context do you read it as? Uh, because yeah, I feel like we are missing something there.
Yeah. Can I also give you another tangent on that tangent? Because it's really
Oh, go on.
important, I
I
think,
love
to Jackie
tangents
Chan.
though. No, I like a
So
good tangent. Go on.
I was reading about his childhood, and
Right.
did you know that his father was a spy?
Nah,
Yeah.
come on.
So,
No, but you sure though? Because there's a lot of conspiracy bollocks on the internet about Jackie Chan.
well,
Some
it's
people
written
think
on
it.
Wikipedia, so it has to be true.
Oh, it has to be true. I
Let me tell you a bit more about this, though. So apparently, when the communists and the Kuomintang were fighting on mainland China after World War II, Jackie's father was a spy for the Kuomintang. And then when the communists won, he and his wife left mainland China for Hong Kong because they were worried that they were going to get like there'll be like revenge on them or something. And they even changed their name. So apparently Jackie Chan's real name was not his proper name or something. So Jackie was
Mm,
born in Hong Kong, and it's interesting how his father was a spy for the other side, but now he's very pro China. So yeah, it was, I don't know,
interesting. Maybe Jackie Chan's a spy.
maybe.
More conspiracy theories that we'll throw out there. Well, because I've heard conspiracies about him being like part of the triads, because the triads allegedly have a big hold over Hong Kong cinema. So there have been theories that Jackie Chan's been in the back pocket of the triads for years. But again, like I say, these are Western theories. These, I've not heard anyone from the East talk about this shit.
I don't believe that. I don't think there's
No,
any
of
truth in
course
that.
not. No, but the only thing I know for sure about him, like for sure, is he studied at like the Chinese Royal Opera.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So I think
yeah,
after when I even grew up a little bit in Australia. I read as well, but yeah,
really.
but for a little while. I think his parents got a job out there, and then they went back to Hong Kong. But
Hmm.
yeah, he studied in mainland China, which I wonder like if his father were like, oh fuck, please, I hope he'll be all right, because like, what if they
Hmm.
find out what he did, but obviously nothing happened. Apparently, Jackie only found out about this much later in life, like in the 90s, that his father was a spy back in the day. So
Nuts.
interesting stuff.
Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, shout out to Wikipedia because you're never wrong. Thank you. Big ups. Big ups. Um, should we get back to Supercop?
Yeah,
Now, did you recognize Panther?
he did look a bit familiar, but I wasn't sure where.
So he's quite young in this movie. But have you seen Baz Luhrmann's Australia?
No, I haven't seen that.
Well, he's in that. Um, but what I know him from mainly is have you seen Kung Fu Hustle?
Sounds familiar. Is it also
It's
a
a
Jackie film?
no, it's a comedy by Stephen Chow.
Oh,
Um, but it's pretty big. Kung Fu Hustle was pretty popular, and it's wacky as hell. It's quite funny, and Panther plays this landlord who's like a really nice, lovable guy.
Uh-huh.
Um, and apparently, I looked him up, and he gets a credit for Game of Death, which is a Bruce Lee movie, but I have no idea who he plays in that. I've seen
That
Game of Death. I don't
mm,
I don't remember him in it,
that
so I
would have
don't
been a
know.
long time before, though.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, really. Yeah, he would have been a lot younger in that for sure. But I quite like this guy, certainly from Kung Fu Hustle. I'm a bit of a fan,
Hmm.
and I recognise him in like umpteen other films that I've seen as well.
Yeah.
Um,
There's also a funny bit here where they're breaking him out. Well, I thought it was funny.
mm,
Um, So when all the commotion is happening and Panther is told to get in the back of the truck, so they throw one shovel of coal on him, and then they go. And I'm just thinking that's not enough coal to hide him. Like, come on, you got to put a bit more than that. Obviously, later when they're escaping, there's more. But for a second, I thought, is that all they're going to put? Is that
yeah,
it?
I
I
like
don't know.
that.
Maybe that's just
Did
me
you?
being stupid.
What did you think of the fake family cover story? I think it's a miracle they get away with it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a bit silly.
it's
There's this
dumb as
thing
fuck.
about this. Yeah, it's very stupid. This film is
And
a bit like the
sorry, go on.
humor is a bit. This is different humor in this film than some of the other
What?
Jackie films. I don't
So
know.
did you notice? I'll say this. I think Supercop, the humor feels like it belongs in a slapstick film, but they
Mm,
take a step back from the physical slapstick humor that we see a lot from Jackie. I don't think they
yeah,
do it very much in this one,
not
but
very
the
much.
but the actual written jokes feel like they belong in one of those kinds of Jackie movies. So
Yeah,
it's all I like I said, I feel like the tone of this film is just a touch off. This is heralded as one of Jackie's best. And I for me it's really not. Um
it
but like
doesn't show him in his best abilities. I
I
think. Like,
yeah, I agree. I don't think so either. I agree.
um,
Um with this fake family though, I have to ask. So obviously we're not Asian, we're not Chinese. So when they did that fake family thing, the old man who's pretending to be his mum, when they all leave, his fake boobs fall out of his dress. What the hell are they using for
I
fake boobs?
I don't know what the hell that was either.
What were they? I have absolutely no idea. And it's obviously played as a joke in that it's obviously a cultural joke. People would have understood that, but I had no fucking clue what those fake boobs were. So again, any Chinese or listeners out there, please let me. What was that in this scene? I have absolutely no idea, and it just confused me more than anything.
Yeah. Oi,
Oh,
oi.
here's another point from that scene. Jackie has an opportunity to be a bit uh, raunchy with Michelle Yeoh. He gets a little bit touchy feely, doesn't he? So
He
like
does.
she's like, I'm his sister, and he's like, yeah, she's my sister. So he slaps her on the ass, and it's like, oh, Jackie, that's just so. I don't know. I don't like it, Jackie. I don't like it.
Yeah. But
Um,
also about that surprise family, I've just saw one of my notes. Why is the boss from Hong Kong there? And how the fuck did he get there so quick to be there just at that exact moment? And I think that's the last moment we see him in this film, by the way. If I'm
the
not
boss from
wrong.
Hong Kong.
The guy who played the old mother.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think he's up. He turns up towards the end. I think.
Does he?
I
Hmm.
think so, but I could be wrong. I could be confusing it for another scene in a different Jackie Chan movie with the same actor because he's in a bunch.
Yeah.
But I
You know
do
what?
seem to recall him being, popping up at the end.
Yeah. There's also like I've got a note here, but I'm not sure what part of the film this happens in. So I've written Yoh is fighting the police and they do some stance. Ah, yeah. So I guess this is when they have to escape. escape mainland China. So they're
Well,
fighting.
this is it, because they get recognised at dinner
Yeah.
as like the people that, isn't that a bit didn't you feel that that was a bit convenient, that they get recognized out to dinner as like the prison break people?
Why would they even go out like that?
I know,
It's
it's
just,
ridiculous, it's dumb, but they get recognized at dinner, and then yeah, that you get they get referred to in the dubbing, in the subbing, as public security. They don't say police, do they? They say
yeah, they
public.
do. Yeah, they do.
Did you notice that they were using like chairs as handcuffs? They had their arms wrapped round chairs and shit instead of having handcuffs.
Oh yeah, there was something about that. Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Weird, right? I was like,
Yeah,
what? That threw me a bit. I was like, but if you're like basically the police, wouldn't you have handcuffs? Also, these public security, they're not wearing like police uniforms. They're wearing like the civilians. It looks like the civilians. They don't look like they're meant to
yeah.
be
I
a
wondered
more
as well if that was something about China at the time. And I was just this note through. I now remember what happens now. So Yoeh is fighting one of these guys, and
yeah.
she's doing. They're both doing some stances, like some fighting poses. And then Jackie's behind the guy, and he just kicks him in the back of the head. I just thought this
Yeah.
is just really fucking, just a cheap shot. Like,
I
um,
know. I know that it's like a nut shot in it, and it's like you don't like to see it from the hero. You don't
he's
like
just
you
standing
don't like
behind the guy, sees him getting ready, and just
you don't
bam.
like to see the hero playing dirty, I think. I like my heroes to fight clean, not dirty.
Yeah. So
Um, so they get,
move.
but this when they escape. That's from this scene. That's when like Panther basically trusts them with his life.
Yeah, and they meet Big Brother,
Suddenly, yeah, and then he takes them to Big Brother.
which, by the
Uh,
way, I've just found his name. Is Chaibat, I think.
Chai Bat, yeah, actually, I do remember them referring to him as Chai Bat. Okay. Um, I will say this though, because like Jackie Chan, uh, not known as a great actor, known for his martial arts, his stunts and whatnot. But I felt that him and Michelle Yeoh had really nice chemistry in this
Yeah,
movie.
I
I say
agree.
that. I think the chemistry is off the charts, and I think Michelle Yeoh does a lot to contribute. And I just find it interesting. I don't know if we've brought it up on the podcast already, but Jackie Chan was approached initially for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So that could have been a
Hmm,
Jackie Chan and Michelle Yeoh movie again,
that would have
but
been
he
quite
turned it down.
crazy.
Yeah, but he turned it down, and I think it panned out for the best because Ke Hu Kwan was just excellent in it.
Yeah, he
And
was.
I can't imagine Jackie Chan winning an Oscar for it.
I can't imagine Chan acting as well as
No,
Kwan did in that film.
not at all.
So
Um,
let's move on a bit because we've gone on so many massive
so
tangents.
all right, so we've
Uh,
got speedboat chases next. They have a speedboat chase. It's pretty before they meet the brother. They have this boat chase where uh, the guy from Kung Fu Hustle just like rams into every boat and just crushes everyone's skulls that are on every boat as he passes. And I feel,
he enjoys it,
I
doesn't he?
he loves it, doesn't he? He's really enjoying himself. But I don't. There's this trope in lots of action movies where they'll drive a car or a boat towards someone that's attacking them, like shooting them, or there's a bigger boat coming or whatever, and they're always like heading towards the danger. And it's like, if you were the bad guy, you'd just kill them there and then. They're coming
Yeah,
right at you. Just shoot them or ram into them or whatever. And I think there's another bit later on in this movie where they're driving a car. I think it's in the climax throughout Malaysia. They're driving a car, and then a helicopter comes down with like a rocket launcher or grenade launcher, and they shoot a different car to like
someone died and they don't even care.
but this is no, but But like they shoot a different car, I think, to what distract Jackie Chan's car. But all they do is just give Jackie Chan the opportunity to just drive right underneath them before they can have a chance to reload. The fucking
Hmm.
idiots. I'm sure that happened in this. Yeah, yeah, it did happen in this. It's at the end.
You
They
know
should have just
that
blown up Jackie's car instead of the random car, and then boom.
stupid bad
Um,
guys.
Dumb bad guys. So let's talk about when they meet. Is it Chai Buck?
Yeah, Big Brother.
So Big Bro, um, he immediately just says, "Kill them." He don't want to fuck about. He's like, "These are new people. We have a criminal organization to protect. Get rid of them." You know, he immediately calls it like we shouldn't have these people here. And what they beat everyone up and then give them their gun back, and they're like, "Fuck
Hmm.
this, we're just gonna leave." And that's how they earn their trust. And it's like, okay, job offer. And it's like, what? Hang on a minute. You you just said kill them. They beat up your staff. Job offer. Dumb. Dumb.
Yeah, it's a bit stupid. There's a bit more stupidity coming up in a bit. By the way, before that part of the film, there was a bit of heroin use, and like there was one guy was convincing some white girl to inject heroin, which I thought, oh, that's a bit heavy for a Chan film.
Yeah.
But you know what comes up next after this bit, if I remember correctly?
Shoot out.
We, huh?
Shoot out.
Someone gets beaten up with a durian in the back of the
Yeah.
head or
Well,
something.
so we get, yeah, there's some big meeting, isn't there? There's a big meeting with like these crime bosses, and he beats what he says that this guy is a snitch, and he beats him to death with a durian. And there's also another scene later on where Jackie Chan lands into like a train carriage full of durian,
Yeah.
which would hurt. For those of you who don't know what durian is, it's a fruit with a that's like spiky on the outside. You just get through the shell, and then you get to this sweet, fruity meat in the middle, um, that some people equate to the flavor of chocolate.
Hmm.
Have you had durian, Craig?
I think I did when I was in Thailand. Yeah.
I quite like it, but it does smell quite bad.
Yeah. I
And
remember when.
I don't like the fruit itself. I like things made out of it,
Uh
but they
huh.
still smell really bad. Like the smell is like uh, bad feet. It does smell like smelly socks.
I remember when we did a tour. I can't remember. We did like the marketplaces in Bangkok or something.
Mm,
And our guide was saying that some places don't let you bring in durian, like some hotels,
yeah,
no durian allowed because it just stinks so much.
yeah. There's signs everywhere in Asia. Like wherever you go, if they sell durian somewhere, there are signs everywhere that says don't just save it for your house. And if you rent a condo in a certain building, they might even say don't even eat your durian in your own condo because there are too many other people that it will affect. It is a very strong smell,
Mm.
and again, it's also very spiky to get hit at the back of the head with. Look what
Yeah.
happens here.
I've never seen it be used as a weapon before.
No, but I quite like it. I quite like it as a weapon in like a kung fu film. I thought it was fun.
Yeah. But anyway.
I love because they have this getaway as well because they do this standoff where they pretend that Michelle Yeoh's got gunpowder or well explosives all in her vest. So they
Hmm.
have this big standoff, don't they? And I just love it. Um, I love this kung fu film trope. It comes up in so many kung fu films where you get your hero to jump through a really small window that's held open by a bit of wood, and then as you jump through, you knock the bit of wood away, so the window closes behind you. It's just always in these kung fu films, and I love it. I love it. It's a bit
Yeah.
naff, and it's in all of them. Like it's not. Anytime you see it, it is nothing special. They have done it a million times, but I just love seeing it. I love seeing it, and in this, I think we see two people go through the window and do it, which I like that.
I
Fuck.
remember there's a moment where that happens in Drunken Master as well, I think, in the first
Yeah.
one.
What's his name? What's the old guy? I forget his name now.
No way to remember.
Oh, I forget.
Never
Shit.
mind, never
Yeah, the
mind.
old master in Drunken Master. I like him.
Yeah. But in this scene, by the way, I was
It's on the tip of my mind, though. I know I can think of it. I know it'll come to me, though. It's coming at some point. At some point in the episode, I'm just going to shout out his name.
you do that. You do
All
that.
right.
No
All right.
context.
No context.
There is so this part of the film surprised me actually because Jackie Chan's shooting people with guns, which I'm not.
So high.
So there we go. There we go. So high.
I got it. Right.
Should be
Sorry.
so
Carry
drunk,
on.
not so high.
I know.
So yeah, Jackie Chan is shooting people with guns, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of
No
surprised.
martial arts.
No
Yeah.
martial arts. It reminds me of what you said earlier. Like this film's more, at least the '90s films are more about the stunts than they are about the martial
Yeah.
arts.
I maintain that. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's it. I think there was a step away from the martial arts themselves because I think they were trying to market themselves towards America, and American action movies were pretty popular. So I think they went in that route. And also, I think the reason why Jackie was gaining so much traction was that he did his own stunts. Because
yeah,
when he does do his own stunts, they're often incredible. And I've got a lot to say about his stunt work in Armour of God II when we get there.
mm-hmm.
But let's finish Supercop first.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, next we have this really odd, obscure, like just coincidence of events that
oh yeah,
that they go to this water park, and then Jackie Chan's girlfriend, played by Maggie Cheung, just happens to be there, and she's going to blow his cover. And I tell you what, it is a miracle that she like because she does eventually blow his cover, but they go to such an effort to actually let them get away with what's just happened, and they do this really weird slapstick moment that could just be avoided if they just quickly pulled it to one side and went, just fuck off from the
yeah,
middle of an undercover mission. Don't come and talk to me. Just leave me alone. And then boom, like your girlfriend knows that you're a police officer. You're working an undercover case. She knows that. So why can't you just say to her, no, seriously, fuck off. Do not come and approach me right now. I'm undercover.
yeah. I was
Because he
just
has the opportunity. There are plenty of moments where they could just get a message to her. And but even if you weren't going to communicate with her directly, she should know that you're undercover. I'm sure they mentioned it at the beginning when they say
mm,
goodbye to each other. She knows he's about to go and do a case. So why the fuck is she? Although, okay, fair enough, though. They take a picture of them and it looks like they're kissing. So she's all paranoid.
mm.
She's an undercover cop and she's
But
about to blow his cover.
it's very stupid. I was
Isn't it just?
why doesn't she just believe him? Because also they have a bit of an argument a bit later where he does try to
Mm,
take her to the side, but like she makes such a big scene of it. But it's just
yeah.
yeah, it's a bit silly. But there was a funny bit though where she's really upset and she's leaving the swimming pool and she's been taken away by her English friend
Yeah.
and these two guys behind him, and one of them goes to the other way, she's a whore. Like,
Yeah.
it was kind of funny.
Well, that's it.
Uh,
The whole hotel thinks that she's like a prostitute trying to graft him.
yeah.
Uh, But I thought it was just before that. I thought it was fucking amazing that like to avoid her blowing their cover, they just push her in the face into the swimming pool. But it's like they proper take her out of the game. It's like shut the fuck up, done. Throw you in the water. Like yeah, it's just so disrespectful. Like if I was her, it'd be like okay, yeah. I suppose we better break up because you humiliated me in front of so many strangers, and then I had to pretend like I actually was a prostitute after. So we would, but yeah, I'd just be so angry if I was her. But she does eventually blow his cover by talking about it openly in an
Yeah,
elevator.
like an absolute idiot.
What an idiot! And what she says as well, at least what the subtitles says was, "Oh, I think I've just done something really clever," and then she explains the whole fucking thing. And yeah, of course, there's a bad guy in the lift that can hear everything.
Yeah, and she
Um,
gets kidnapped. We should
she
probably
gets kidnapped.
explain. So at this part of the film, we've gone from Thailand to Malaysia,
Yeah,
and now the boss Chai Bat, or Big Brother, or whatever people want to call him, wants to
break out
basically,
his sister
isn't his wife? I think it's
or
his wife.
whatever.
Yeah, she's been arrested for. Actually, I'm not sure what she's been arrested for, but she's going to prison, and the plan is to break her out.
Yeah, when she's
And
in transit to the courthouse or something.
yeah, and now because of Mei Mei's stupidity, the bad guy now knows that
Hmm.
Chan and Yeoh are undercover cops, and kind of like kidnaps Mei Mei
Hmm.
to force them into breaking them out of his wife out of prison, which is where shit starts to get a bit crazy.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. So we have this big elaborate plan to break out the wife. Although, can I just point out, Malaysia looks beautiful. Where do
It
you think that
does.
is? Is that Kuala Lumpur?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
Because I know that's the capital. So that's like, yeah, it just looked lovely. I'd love to go and visit. If I'm honest, it looked really quite nice.
I have a
Um,
question, by the way, about Malaysia in this film. So
mhm.
Yo is from Malaysia, and I'm
Yeah,
wondering, has she been in any other Jackie films before this, or is this her first that you know of,
I mean,
anyway?
not that I know of, but I'm sure if we punch it into IMDb, they're bound to have crossed paths before this or since this.
Because I'm wondering
Because is
if,
it when you're as proficient as they are in Hong Kong cinema? Yeah, they must have done more together.
yeah, I'm just wondering if like there was some kind of deal, probably to get some funding from Malaysia. Okay, we'll invest in this film if we get one Malaysian actress to play the lead, and you shoot some stuff in Kuala Lumpur or something like that. Because I think
Yeah, that's
sometimes
possible.
they break out deals like that. You know.
Mm. Yeah, that's very possible. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Um, Also, Michelle Yeoh goes full on badass mode in this. Because when they break out the wife, Jackie and Yeoh, they're like, okay, now release Maggie Chung, and we'll let you have the wife. So they release Maggie Chung, they give them the wife, but then it's like, well, we've still got to stop them. So Michelle Yeoh jumps on the back of the getaway van, and she's like full on liquid Terminator mode.
Yeah, but just
She
before
cannot
that,
be
by the
stopped.
way, May gets chucked out of a helicopter onto a car, which I
Yeah, she
thought was
does.
a bit harsh. Like, fuck,
I know,
that's
I know. Like I just glossed over it by saying let her go. But yeah, you're quite right. When they let her go, it was out of a helicopter and on top of a car.
yeah, it was a bit harsh. I don't know, man. That must have
Yeah.
hurt.
Uh, but this is where I mentioned earlier. This is where there's this grenade launcher scene where they shoot a random car instead of Jackie's car, and it's like if you just shot Jackie's car, movie over, roll credits.
Yeah, the end.
And we're nearly at
Yeah,
the end anyway. You could have killed Jackie off here.
yeah, they could have. I will also say about Yo at this point, she does leap onto that motorbike really well. Did you
Yeah,
notice
yeah,
that? Like, she made that look
yeah.
very cool.
She's the Terminator in this scene, man. She's
She's
she's Liquid Terminator. She's T1000 in this scene. She
100%.
cannot be
Yeah.
stopped. Um, Also, did you appreciate helicopter rope ladder? I love a helicopter rope ladder.
Yeah. How real do you
Yeah.
think all of that was? Because he gets really fucking high up.
Uh I mean, because obviously he does his own stunts. So I wouldn't be surprised if he really
But
did do that.
but there's a
It,
limit though, isn't there? Like
I
if you're
mean, he's
like,
probably got a hook there. He's
he
probably got a
probably,
wire and shit.
I
But
fucking hope so.
I'm sure someone really did that. I think that's really someone hanging onto a ladder, being flown around by a helicopter. Yeah,
Like skyscraper level heights, like
yeah,
really, really freaking high.
yeah. It's amazing. I love it. Because
By
it
the
also
way,
safety procedures in Hong Kong, certainly at this time, I'm not sure about now, but certainly at this time, were not. They're not what they are. They're not what they're like in Hollywood. Like I remember hearing a story. I think it was when Jackie Chan first went to Hollywood for Cannonball Run in the '80s, and he was talking to the director, and the director was like, "Oh, I'd love for you to do something really cool for this scene." And Jackie sees a tree. I don't know where I heard this story, but Jackie sees a tree and he's like, "Oh, I could just jump up here and go." And he points with his finger. He's like, "I could just be jumping up and doing all this." And the director's like, "Really? You can do that?" And he goes, "Yeah, let me show you." And he just goes and does it. And the director went, "Oh my God, that was perfect. Okay, tomorrow we're going to shoot exactly that. Do exactly that, and we'll shoot it tomorrow." And then it took them hours to set up all the health and safety procedures. And
mm,
Jackie was just stood there going, "But I could just do it now for you. You don't need to set all this up. I could just go do it." And they're like, "No, we've got you in, insurance and all this. We have to have all these safety things in place." And Jackie wasn't used to that. Jackie was just used to just getting on with it. Go and do it. That's your stunt. Let's hope you don't die. Like that. That's how he just was making movies. Um, I think he was saying that on the Graham Norton show. I've got a feeling it was Jackie telling this story on the Graham Norton show. But yeah,
hmm,
yeah, like at the time, safety procedures were not what they are in Hollywood. That's for sure. So
yeah.
I'm sure they would strap someone to a helicopter and go, "Off you go." Let's not forget they did that to Arnie in Commando because like no one else was as big as Arnie because he was so massive. So it was like no one can be your stunt double. You have to do this. Okay, what do you want me to do? Jump off a plane that's moving. I can't do that. You know what I mean? But they just assumed he could because he's so strong. They're like, "Well, of course you can do it. You're massive." He's like, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm not a stuntman.
He's a human being. He's not indestructible.
I'm a human being. I'm not a Terminator.
Oh fuck.
So
Um,
we're nearly at the end here.
yeah. By the way,
We're at the
so sorry, after you.
I was just going to say this is where they fly to because they go from Prison Break to van helicopter car chase with Michelle Yeoh on the van, Jackie in the car, helicopter above with grenade launchers and shit. Then we get to a train, and it now becomes train helicopter
Mm-hmm.
chase. And they hook the rope ladder to the train so the helicopter can't get away. And it's just I fucking this is where he lands in the durian, by the way. But
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. And
You
I
know what it reminded me of?
go
The
on,
the first Mission Impossible film, because there's a
yeah,
helicopter and a train.
yeah. But it also reminded me of Terminator 2 as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the end of Terminator 2, there's like it's a helicopter chase, but it goes from car to truck to helicopter. Like there's just so many vehicles involved in this chase, and it just reminded me of that. Um, and also Michelle Yeoh acting like Liquid Terminator also helps. But I will say there is a cringy bit where Jackie Chan does some distracting so a guy can get hit in the back of the head by a sign.
Yeah, I
But
remember that.
happens a lot in Jackie Chan movies. I think you mentioned it earlier in the movie where there's a double decker bus. Pretty sure exactly the same thing happens where he distracts someone and then boom, they get hit in the back of the head by a sign.
Yeah,
It
it's
happens like
always good. I know he's using his clownish behavior as a way to fight, which is kind of
well,
funny.
Yeah, that was the thing he always did, wasn't it? He always sort of played the fool a little bit
Yeah.
to his advantage. Certainly in the Drunken Master movies, that's what the whole thing's about. But he's always a little bit like that, you know, the unsuspecting hero, the hero that no one expects. Um,
Yeah. It's kind of funny though because he's supposed to be a super cop in this one. So,
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, it's
hmm.
weird, right? It's weird. I do think the tone of this film is just a bit scattered, just a touch. Or maybe it's a translation issue in the subtitles.
Yeah,
Maybe he's not meant to be a super cop. Maybe this job is a punishment because he's such a shit cop. Maybe he's more like Dirty Harry. But
a shit dirty Harry.
but is it? Is he not? Because he's not dirty, so he wouldn't be Dirty Harry. But he's a bit of a jester, so
Shit
he would
Harry.
shit like shitty Harry. Yeah, shitty Harry.
Ay,
Um,
ay, ay.
I,
I
I like the death of the big brother. He gets exploded with the helicopter. That's fun. I like that.
always fun to get exploded to death.
Always fun. And I think this is the I think the movie ends with that British colonization joke that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I, a bit. It's a bit like some of the other Chan movies where it just kind of just ends. But at least there's like a
Like
punchline.
yeah,
We don't
right
see what
after
happens after,
yeah,
but
yeah, climax ending, boom. But
pretty
yeah,
much.
but as you say, yeah, it seems that in the 90s they had the foresight to just at least throw in a punchy line just to close things off, whether it's a joke or whatever. Whereas the 70s, they were just, oh, the fight's over, roll credits, end the
Mm,
movie, bye
mm,
bye.
that was it.
And that's it. What did you think of the outtakes in this movie?
Well, the two that really got me were the ones I mentioned earlier, like where I actually even went back and replayed both of them because I was like, fucking hell. Like, Chan almost fell off a fucking moving train. He could
Yeah.
have died just there. And then Yeoh just falling on a car. I thought
Mm,
that was batshit nuts. I thought I didn't really think about how they filmed that, but when you see them falling, like, because they jump from the van onto Jackie's
mm.
car, this convertible, on when he's going on the highway and there's cars behind them, and like, yeah, it really puts everything in perspective, especially that one because the cars behind them are obviously they're also stunt guys, so when the action stops they also have to stop as well, so everything
That's
just
right.
stops when when Yeoh falls. I know another guy also falls off as well. It's not just Yeoh, it's some other guy too, and he just fall off the car, and it's like, oh fuck, you know, like, yeah, I could never do that shit. I'm not brave enough. I don't
I
have
mean,
the balls.
this is the thing, though. It's expected. It's expected. Certainly at the time, it was like if you can't do your own stunts, like you're not going to be doing much in Hong Kong cinema. Well, certainly not in martial arts movies. But that was the bread and butter of Hong Kong cinema at the time. So it's like if you weren't good at that, you know, maybe find a new job. Pop down to the job centre, mate. The dole for you. Let's give this motherfucker a rating.
Out of what are we rating out of this time?
Should we do it out of how many we got? Michelle Yeoh and we got Jackie Chan, so they've got four fists between them. So let's just do it out of four fists.
Oh, this is like Roger Ebert. He used to always rate stuff out of 4 stars, and I think that made it more interesting because, like, you don't have that middle. It's either
Mm,
like it's good or it's bad. Uh, hmm. I would give this maybe like, I don't know. I think there are much better Chan films. It's a bit, as you said, a bit
yeah,
scattered.
I
Uh,
agree.
it's not bad, but it's like it didn't really impress me as much as I thought it was going to. So I'm going to give it maybe 2 fists out of 4.
I agree. I think two fists out of four is a fair rating because I feel like as much as a lot of his other stuff, we'll watch it and we're like, oh, this is really influential. When we watch Supercop, I think this is the product of the influence. This is a movie that is drawing from all of the stuff Jackie's done before, and it's doing it all really well, and it's doing it all to a high standard. But it's not doing anything new.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's a thing. I much prefer his other stuff. This is not even the best police story movie. It is considered as one of the best, but for me personally, I'd happily watch Police Story 1 over this any day,
Can
and
I
Police
ask a quick
Story 2.
question?
Mm-hmm.
Compared to the Police Story 1 and 2, do you think this one has a much bigger budget?
Yes, for
And it's
sure.
also,
Noticeably so, yes. I
yeah.
think having Michelle Yeoh there, it shows the budget, because I think she was quite well known at the time. Although I've got a feeling they weren't getting paid very highly. I think that's why they'd made so many movies, because they didn't get good pay. So
But the
I'm
budget was
actually not
definitely a lot
sure.
bigger than it was
Yeah,
back in the 70s.
this is a much bigger budget movie than the other Police Story movies. Well, until we get to New Police Story, I think that's easily the highest budget one.
Then you get the American money coming in, I guess.
It feels quite Americanized. It feels quite westernized, yeah. But I don't think it's got much American money involved. But maybe it does. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Should we give it an IMDb rating as well, Craig? We always like to diversify.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 5.5 or 6 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's bad. It's like an average film.
You know what, Craig? You know what?
Yeah.
I agree.
Hey.
I was also going to say 5.5, and I was worried that I was being harsh because, again, this is a Jackie classic. But yeah, I found this one a bit underwhelming.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't want to say this. I didn't write this down, but there were some moments where I stopped watching it here and there just to take a little break. I feel bad saying that. Yeah, you know what I did actually at one point.
I'm cutting this, Craig. This is so
no, you keep this in.
You keep this is so unprofessional.
You keep this in. You know what? I started watching other stuff like here and there, and I watched the action scene from Heat where they robbed the bank. I don't know why. I just got this urge. Like, I want to see that scene again. And I found it on YouTube. It's like 12 minutes long. It's like, yeah, that's nice. And then I went back to the film.
Fair enough. Fine, you're forgiven. At least you interrupted it with Pacino and De Niro. So
yes,
and Val Kilmer. So yeah, I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for Supercop. 5.5 out of 10, I think, is our collective Phil Shrapnel rating, or 2 fists out of 4.
I think it's fair.
But yeah, I think so too. If I'm honest, I think so too. I'm not too sure why this one is regarded so highly. I think in the same way that I'm not too sure why Legend of the Drunken Master is regarded in higher esteem than the original.
Well, I think it's because both films are a bit later on. He's got more of an American audience, more of a Western audience. There's more money being pumped in there. I think it's just a matter of people just being more. It's the only one they've seen. Like maybe they've only ever seen Supercop and they haven't seen the other films. Maybe they've only seen the second Drunken Master film and not the first. So it's their only reference.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Shrapnel.